treacherous frontier. These are the voyages of the channel Downsize It. Its continuing mission: to explore strange new genres, to seek out new games and new player communities, to boldly go where no nerd has gone before.
Greetings, my name is Ben, aka Downsize It, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Star Trek Into the Unknown Rising Tensions, because I finally got mine in. I know everybody and a lot of people have been having delays or shipping issues getting this expansion out. Mine came in Christmas Eve Day is when it was delivered, so that, and I had actually emailed WizKids, like, hey, what's the status, just checking. They said, oh, you're in the queue, and we'll send you a shipping notice whenever your expansion is on the way. Well, I never got a shipping notice. It just showed up on my door, and then this morning, this is the day after Christmas that I'm filming this, I got my shipping notice that it's on the way. It sounds like they're having some issues over there at WizKids right now for their logistics. But yeah, this is not going to be an unboxing. As you can see, I've already got things out. I've done all my sleeving and sorting and everything. If you want to see like an unboxing video, go check out Krabic or Ion Radio. They have some really good unboxing videos. I didn't want to just duplicate that. I'm just going to be talking generally right now because I'm excited to finally have this. And I also plan on doing some deep dives into the stats of certain ships and officer cards and stuff later on. Because there's some very interesting things. I might talk about some of them here. I'm kind of going to be riffing today. As you can see, I've got everything laid out. It's not just Rising Tensions. I laid everything out just so you can see all the ships, all the plastic that is in Into the Unknown so far. And fair warning, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I have a bit of a rant to go on. So if you want to skip my rant, my angry rant that I'm about to go on, go into the chapter links and I'll have an end of rant. This will be beginning of rant, then an end of rant, and then I'll be done with it. So, start of rant. Something in here just doesn't seem right. And can you pick it out? Could it be two of these models right here? Two Defiant class models, the USS Valiant, which has no reason to be in this expansion box. You know, I've ever since this was previewed and we saw that, oh, there's another Defiant class in there. Why do we have that? That doesn't make any sense. We were told through some interviews and discussions and everything that it's because they needed to wait to introduce cloaking. Fair enough. Yep. For the Defiant. And so that's why there is another Defiant class, although the name USS Valiant on the model was because for cloaking. And based on that, we assume that maybe there is something within this box that was needed, that was required for cloaking to happen for the USS Defiant. That would be significant. That would somehow justify having another piece of plastic of a Defiant model in this game. Turns out, there is nothing significant in this box to let the Defiant start cloaking. Yes, there's the cloaking trackers and the cloaking markers, which is really cool. We'll get to that in a separate video at some point. There's nothing different on the cardboard. The Defiant class cardboard the ship cardboard. Nothing different there. All exactly the same. The only thing you need is a single card that says Romulan cloaking device, and it requires you to have the Defiant title attached to the Defiant cardboard. So you have to have the core set anyway. And this is what pisses me off about this. Of all the factions in Star Trek, Starfleet, the Federation, is the last one that we need to be duplicating ships, especially this early. There are so many ships in the Federation repertoire. Canon ships. I'm not even talking about non-canon ships. Canon ships. In this time frame of the pre-Dominion War that we could have had, and it's before duplicating arguably the single rarest ship in Starfleet history, and that's the Defiant. You know, like some exceptions like the Protostar and the Prometheus, those prototype experimental ships. But the Defiant class, the rarest ship in Starfleet history, and that's the one that we duplicate. And the reason for doing it makes no sense. It holds no water. You do not need this model in here to let the Defiant start cloaking and doing cloaking missions in the campaign. All you needed is that single card that says Romulan cloaking device that requires the Defiant title that's in the core set. You can't even play this on its own. It doesn't come with any game components to play by itself. It doesn't come with range rulers, doesn't come with dice, doesn't come with the maneuver tools. You cannot play Into the Unknown with just this. You have to have the core set. So you have to have the Defiant model already and the Defiant title already. And it frustrates me so much because I hate inefficiency and waste. This is such a waste. It's a waste of plastic. It's a waste of time, most importantly, especially with how slow these releases have been. It's because every other faction needs duplicates. We're going to need multiple Borels for the Klingons to help them out. They're the second most fleshed out faction in all of Star Trek with ship types. The Dominion, of course, need duplicates. The Romulans, the Cardassians, the Ferengi, they're all going to need duplicates to be able to flesh their factions out, and they're going to need them quickly. The Federation does not need duplicates, and if you're going to duplicate stuff to get different registry numbers and ship names printed on which is cool, the Defiant is not the one to do it. It's just, why wasn't the Excelsior in this? That's the correct answer. It should have been the Excelsior. Should have been the Excelsior class. The Excelsior, we're about almost 100 years on now, not quite, that the Excelsior has been the backbone and foundation of the Federation. It is arguably, in my opinion, the single best starship design in Starfleet history. It's like the B-52 bomber of the Federation. With continuous upgrades and refits, it's just such a solid design. The most numerous active ship in the Federation, used heavily during the Dominion War, the backbone, you could say, of the Dominion, of the Federation fleet. It should have been the Excelsior. Why do we have a second Defiant model that has the Valiant name on it and a Valiant title that serves no purpose whatsoever, as opposed to an Excelsior? Or an Oberth class. That's the symbol we have for a specialist ship, is the Oberth class. We could have put the Oberth in there. So as opposed to taking the most base of the backbone of the Federation fleet, putting that in this, we put the rarest ship in Starfleet history, give us a duplicate of that. And it frustrates me. Again, I'm going to just go through a little exercise off the top of my head here. Of all the different ship classes for the Federation that could have been in this box before we start duplicating ships, period, let alone duplicating Defiant ships. The correct answer is the Excelsior. It should have been the Excelsior in this box. But I'm just going to go through the exercise. So number 1, Excelsior, should have been that. Number 2, the Oberth. Just because that symbol's on there. It's in the game to represent something, so obviously the Oberth is coming at some point, I'm guessing. And then these ones are just no particular order. The Nebula class, Centaur class, Akira class, Norway class, Saber class, Streamrunner class, Cheyenne class. USS Sovereign was built at this point. I believe even the USS Intrepid had come off the lines. Voyager wouldn't make sense whatsoever in the Dominion War, but the Intrepid, I mean, and I already did Excelsior, and I mean, there are at least 11 or 12 ship classes that we could have had in this box to represent the Federation before duplicating this, because it does not make sense. And the reason they tried to give that it's because of introducing cloaking in this one and all that stuff. And players have to have the corset anyway. You have to have the corset anyway, so you already have the Defiant and the Defiant title. All you need is the single card that came in this. Anyway, I've said my piece. Get my frustrations out of the way. Alright. I've said my piece. And I'm going to do my best to not bring it up again in videos, etc. So, rant over. Welcome back, folks who decided to skip the rant. I got over my big frustration in this game, in this expansion. And now let's talk about all the other good stuff, because there is a lot of good stuff in this expansion that I'm excited for. That is really, really exciting. So first, let's talk about the Miranda right here, this sucker. This thing is really well done. I am very impressed with the modeling and the detail of this. I mean, it looks like it just came right out of Wrath of Khan. Obviously, it's not the Reliant, but it's the USS Trial. But I mean, just put together really well, just looks great. And for the history of this, guys, Miranda class vessels had been on their way out for a long time, and it's been over 100 years that the Miranda keel had been laid, the first ones, and they had been regulated to like personnel transports, medical transports, cargo deliveries. Most of them were in scrapyards and starship graveyards. But when the Dominion War, so as opposed to the Excelsior class, which should have been in this box, it was not the workhorse of the Federation. It was on its way out. And to be assigned to a Miranda vessel was kind of like, one of the rare exceptions was like Cisco's ship that he served on during the Battle of Wolf 359 was one of the rare Miranda classes that was actually in active service, that was combat ready. But that was just a desperation Hail Mary. That's for another topic, Battle of Wolf 359. But anyway, when the Dominion War broke out and the Federation started experiencing the kind of losses and realizing, oh man, because the Federation had been in a serious war since the Klingon War over 100 years ago. They needed ships, they needed something, so that's like where the Centaur came from, kind of scrapping things together, and also they just pulled out all these mothballed Miranda class ships that were sitting in these graveyards, slapping together skeleton crews, trying to maybe put some extra plates of armor on or whatever, maybe an extra phaser bank or something, and just throwing them into service. Serving on a Miranda during the Dominion War was almost kind of like a death sentence. Just there for numbers, just so they had to get numbers in the field. They had to get ships' bodies in the field. And it's really interesting, the stats of this that they put together that kind of reflects that. It's a support class, similar to the Constellation, a support vessel. But whereas the Constellation is more like science focused, this is definitely combat focused. But you can also tell that it's an old ship that they've made combat focused. And a special upgrade can get to help increase its impulse speed, specific to Miranda classes only. And then also the Miranda's title, or the Trial title. But I think very well done thematically as well as for the stats to represent this. These were pulled out of mothballs to be quickly hashed together and thrown together combat ships to help in the Dominion War. So really well done. I love that. And then now let's get to the big thing, is the Klingons are now here. These are really well done. I love these. So the Burrell right here, obviously. The Bird of Prey, such a classic design. The movable wings are just, it's so cool. It's kind of like the saucer separation, having that. Just so cool. And again, having the cloaking effect, and just the whole feel of the Klingons is just so cool in this game. Their directives, the officers and their abilities, the Qapla' abilities, yeah, really well done. I love it. and can't wait to get these on the table to actually play with some of the Klingons, or at least play against. Probably let Buster or Rob play as the Klingons. And then, of course, oh, hang on, we have about a cat attack about to happen. And the Brel scout ship. Again, I'll be going over stats and stuff in more specific dedicated videos at a later date. But yeah, the Brel, really fantastic. And this is definitely one you're going to want multiples of. Ready for glory and zeal for that one. The the ship packs. Well, that's a whole nother video talking about the ship packs that WizKids is doing. I personally don't think it's worth it, because you don't even get the officer you need to run it. the line officer. But anyway. Brel, really awesome. Really well done. Stats very thematic to the Brel. The Vorcha, though, this one I want to talk a little bit more about. This is the one that's really interesting, this ship. So first off, the modeling, again, sculpting, just very well done, fantastic. I'll probably take some close-up shots of here so you guys can see these better. But the scale, and again, I'll pull this, the reason why I want to have all the ships out, you can see it. I think they did the scale compared to a Galaxy class just about perfect. Because the Vorcha is smaller. It was smaller than the Galaxy class, which is why I had a theory it might have been a medium base ship as opposed to a large base. And there's actually a misprint on its ship card. People might have seen this before already on like Krabic and Ion Radio's YouTube. But it says medium support as opposed to large support. I'm guessing they might have originally intended it to be medium support, but then whenever maybe play testing, I don't know, it just didn't feel right, so they just switched it to large support, but they didn't get it to the printer in time to change it. The Vorcha's in that weird spot where it would be like a large medium or a small large. So it does seem to be a bit swallowed by the large base. But still, the scaling is great. It's a support class. Definitely combat-focused support class. When we go over the ship cardboard in a later video, it is definitely heavily combat-focused. And interestingly enough, which I found interesting, we talked about this in the Miranda has 7 hull. That's one thing that I was kind of confused about. That's the same as the Vorcha and the same as the Constellation. I was assuming it would be more like 6 hull, similar to the Defiant class. But they gave the Miranda 7 hull and 7 energy. Same thing with the Vorcha, 7 hull, 7 energy. Very interesting. But very similar stats to a Galaxy class, because they were comparable. The Galaxy and the Vorcha are very comparable as far as stats-wise, but definitely, obviously, more forward-facing, combat-focused. And disruptors with the lethal effect are pretty cool. That's a new thing. And again, of course, the main thing for both these Klingon ships is the cloaking. And that's the big deal about this expansion, is introducing cloaking. If you haven't seen how cloaking works, I don't think I'll do a tutorial video, but I'll play a game with it, obviously. But check out Ion Radio's tutorial on how cloaking works. I believe Krabic might have one as well. And I really like the mechanics of it, reading through the rules. And I'm really interested to see it actually in practice, see how cloaking works in practice. And now, one downside to this expansion that I will call out, this is beyond my rant, this is more of just like an unfortunate thing, especially with how slow these expansions are coming out. Since this is a support, this is a scout, the Klingons don't have a command ship right now. And as you guys might remember, the standard fleet building mechanics for the oh man, I've just lost, not campaign missions, but like just general missions is a command ship, one command ship, and then 2 support scout or specialist ships. And there's one mission. I'm also little this one that it only came with 1 overture. In this, I wish it would have included more overtures, where it's basically you have 2 ships or 1 ship. You bring 1 command ship or any 2 of scout, support, or specialist, which would make it very interesting that, like if you were to do that, like I could bring the Galaxy versus these of Vorcha and Admiral, and that would be a very interesting facing off there, especially how close the Vorcha is to the Galaxy in stats-wise. That being basically a 1v2 matchup could be potentially happen. very interesting. But it's unfortunate for the Klingon players that they only got 2 ships in this expansion. And I know the developers have said that they're going to be coming out with rules at some point to where you can actually scale up or scale down the other Overture missions. I would say, and this is just what I'm going to be doing here when I do my videos and stuff, just do some house ruling, guys. If you want to just count this as a command ship so you can play the normal, or just like scale down the main missions to, anyway, you can house rule it to where you can actually have, 2v2 or something. You don't have to be too serious about it. We're not playing for money or tournaments. It is unfortunate that the official rules for that modification isn't out yet. Also disappointing that Sway isn't out yet. That the Sway rules, I'm guessing Glory and Zeal are going to be that, because you're going to have to have that for the Cardassians to sway in Dominion ships, I'm guessing. I don't know. But I'm hoping, but anyway, I'm hoping that the living rule set period will come out soon, but also just to help people scale their games officially with the limited amount of Klingon models, because if they are on time, which they probably won't be, it won't be until August before Klingons can fully flesh out their faction. But that's just an unfortunate thing with the timing of how things are progressing right now. But anyway, enough on that. But in the meantime, just use house rules, I'm just going to say, or just do like the 2v1s, or just, again, change the scaling of the regular overtures to make it work for you, to make it the most fun for you. And, but yeah, really looking forward to trying out the new Klingon factions, the new Klingon directives, which are very thematic, the cloaking and all that stuff, and playing through the campaign. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to start filming the campaign, because scheduling for any filming has been difficult with Rob or Buster or Brody, and I want to make sure we can actually do the campaign properly like we did with the Dominion, the initial one, Dominion vs. Federation. So anyway, I've been rambling, and I apologize for the rambling. I also apologize for the rant, but it's still, my opinions on the rant still hold. Just a wasted opportunity, waste of time, waste of materials, unfortunately. So that's it for now. Over the next month or so, be on the lookout for specific like ship card videos, comparisons, etc. of the new factions, all that good stuff. And until next time, take it easy.